Welcome to Stitch and Witch. So, I am a college instructor among all my other things that I do, and I teach as an adjunct at two different colleges. And at the beginning of each semester, I really have to get myself organized, which is really easier said than done when you do this kind of work. I have two different schools with two different calendars, two different academic calendars each semester, and then two courses at each school, so that's four different courses. This semester, they're all different subjects, and I have to figure out how I'm going to get all the grading done, which means I don't want major papers due for all four classes on the same week because I'll never have enough time to edit all of them, right, and grade all of them. So the first thing I do each semester, a couple of weeks before the semester begins, is, as you can see, I create a calendar. And the key for this calendar for me is a couple of things. One, it only has the days of the week. I know that teachers we're kind of known for working late into the evening. We're known for taking our work home with us, although right now all of our work is at home because of the pandemic. And we're known for working long hours. I'm really emphatic about not working schoolwork on the weekends most of the time. On the very rare occasion, I'll make an exception for that, but most of the time, I don't do schoolwork on the weekends because if I don't have that recharge time over the weekend, I am no good for my students. So I build up these calendars. There's four of them, one for each month, and then we kind of go in a little bit to May. But January through April really is when the bulk of the semester this year goes. I build up these calendars for all four of these months, and then on the bottom of each page, I have different categories. So on that first page there, it says before the semester, and I have each of the courses that I'm teaching. I have their course code, and a little square there for each for a to-do list or any notes I need to remember before the semester begins. And then underneath February there, if I get my arm out of the way, you can see that I have a to-do list. That's just random things I think of that I want to add in. A lot of my courses I'm copying over from last semester as far as the online content for the courses goes. So if I wanted to change something, if there was something last semester that I didn't like or that didn't work out well, I might move it and put a little note to myself there to change that this semester. I tend to organize my courses by week. So as you can see down the side of the calendar, I have week 1, week 2, week 3, week 4, just numbered down the side. It helps me to remember where I am as I organize the content online for my students by having those numbers there. And by having the calendars kind of build on each other this way, instead of a traditional calendar where you have all of February and then the next page is all of March, I kind of just continue on with the week. So if February ended on a Wednesday, I would keep that same calendar and that's where I would start March so that I can kind of count it all as one week. It makes it easier to see. And then, of course, I add in a few little pretty things and things to keep me happy because, you got to have your stickers and your washi tape. Feels good. Once I have those on there, I move on to the next page where I'm going to do the next 2 months. And of course, the building of the calendar is basically the same. But here you can really see where, the 5th of April is the first day on that second half of the calendar there. That really helps me just to have them all blocked out like that. Having it on a different page, I don't know how to explain how important that is to me, but it really is important to me in organizing, how long students have for an assignment. Because sometimes if your week ends on Wednesday, if your month ends on Wednesday and your next month starts on Thursday and you have it on 2 separate calendars, it's harder to visualize for me how much time I'm giving a student on an assignment. And then I can go in on underneath these calendars. I have another little area that I do to-dos. The one that I'm writing right there is ideas for next semester. So as the semester goes on, I'm going to use this calendar the whole time. And anything I think of that I go, oh, maybe next semester I should change this in an assignment, or this one created a really difficult discussion because I'm teaching online right now. Maybe if I teach this online in the future, I need to do something differently. And that's where I keep those notes. And then finally I go through and I put in all of the academic events. So I put in when grades are due for the semester, when is midterms, when are the midterms, when are holidays that we have no school, All of those sort of things go on the calendar. And like I said, because I teach at 2 different schools, sometimes they have 2 different schedules for that. Spring break maybe 1 week at one school and a different week at the other one. So then we get into the way that I color code my calendars. Each course that I teach gets a color, and I use my zebra mild liner color, highlighters for this. So, for instance, this semester I'm teaching women's studies, and I chose purple for that. I don't know why, just because. And then teaching English 101, and that course has, I think, a blue highlighter. So then anything I put on the calendar from there for each specific course, I will then use that color highlighter for it. If there's a big project due for my women's studies class, I will put that on the calendar and highlight it purple. That way I can make sure I'm not lining up these huge projects with each other, and I can kind of stagger things so that grading is easier on myself, so that if I have a student in two of my classes, which happens kind of a lot because of the kind of courses I teach, they don't have 2 huge assignments due for me at the exact same time. And it just kind of helps me keep everything straight. With my women's studies class in particular, we have, and actually technical writing as well, we have like units, so 1 week we may be talking about women in the law. In the technical writing class, there may be a week that we're doing a project on resumes and cover letters, and I can identify them by the week that way, have it color-coded, and then I have a quick, easy reference as I build the course in the online program that we use for that to make sure that I know what subject I'm working on each week for each course. So from there, it's just a matter of putting things into my to-do list, putting things into my notes, and keeping this calendar open in front of me throughout the semester. My first couple of semesters that I was teaching, I didn't have anything like this, and I found that I was constantly looking back at my syllabus, realizing that there were things I should have put on my syllabus that I hadn't, and I never kind of knew where I was. A couple of the courses that I teach start 3 weeks later into the semester because they're what we call flex courses. And so even though I may be teaching 2 freshman comp or college composition courses, they will have completely different due dates because of that. And this calendar is just a lifesaver in my bullet journal for helping me keep myself organized and keep myself focused. And it doesn't require much as far as tools. As you can see, I have my Pilot .38 pen and my zebra mild liners, and that's really all I need. So the last thing I want to say is just that I think that this sort of setup that I use here could be used for any number of careers and projects. And I would love to see if you use this same kind of idea that I've created here for your own projects in a whole different line of work. I think it could be really interesting. I hope you find this helpful, and I hope that you are able to use this spread in your own bullet journals. Have a great day.